If you want to get in contact with me, the best way to do it is on Instagram. If you just want to say what up, if you want to tell me you love my videos, you can tell me you hate my videos, but the best way to do that is on Instagram. Peace, y'all. Johnny Fastlane here. So, Angela Yee talks about her issues with Charlemagne, and T.I. says cancel culture is fake. Plus, is Kanye West running for president? Let's talk hip-hop.
What do you think, if you know me?
I would say no.
Angela Yee does an interview with Quicksilver, right? And he's a DJ. I think he's from like Pennsylvania or somewhere like that, right? And Angela Yee right now, she's on tour with her lip service show. So she hasn't really been back in the studio at Power 105 with Charlemagne or DJ Envy, right? And honestly, I'm kind of sick and tired of like Angela Yee trying to always like, well, not always, but in this specific situation, try to play the victim, right? So for y'all that don't know, the whole thing that happened was that Gucci Mane kind of embarrassed Angela Yee because Angela Yee years ago during an interview with Gucci Mane was talking like really lusty, right? Basically acting like she wanted to get at him. She was flirting with him. She was like, shit, my pussy is deep, all of that, right? And Gucci Mane was like, word? And then after the interview, according to Gucci Mane, Angela Yee sent him like her hotel room in the hotel she was staying in and telling him to come through like she wanted some Gucci, right? And Gucci Mane brought that up in an interview on The Breakfast Club, and then Angela Yee basically tried to deny it and was like, hell no, what are you talking about? I never tried to make a pass at you, right? And Gucci Mane was looking like, are you for real? Are you gonna sit here and lie right now, right? So ever since then, Gucci Mane has been banned from The Breakfast Club, right? But they didn't officially come out and say he was banned, but every time he tried to do another interview there, they said, no, you can't come because you made, you know, Angela Yee uncomfortable, right? So the whole situation is that, you know, they had some words on Instagram and Twitter, Gucci Mane and Angela Yee, and then you know, DJ Envy and Angela Yee held Breakfast Club court, basically going in on Gucci Mane and you know, kind of clowning him a little bit. And you know, it's all for radio and all for ratings, right? But where they really kind of crossed over the line was when they started talking about Gucci Mane's wife, you know, in conjunction with, you know, Yo Gotti, another rapper who Gucci Mane has beef with. And Yo Gotti has said that he did things with Gucci Mane's wife. So I think that's where the Breakfast Club like stepped over the line a little bit, and Gucci Mane didn't take too nice to that, right? So ever since then, he's been kind of upset at DJ Envy, calling him a bitch, saying that he's gonna slap him when he sees him, and upset at Angela Yee, calling her a punk ass bitch, right? As well, right? When the Breakfast Club had that Breakfast Club court where they were getting at Gucci Mane, Charlemagne was not there, right? He happened to not be there at that time, so Gucci Mane has no issues or problems with Charlemagne, right? So because of that, Charlemagne sat down with Gucci Mane and did an interview with him somewhere else that was not on The Breakfast Club. They did the interview specifically for Charlemagne's platform, right? That he has on YouTube. And, you know, he asked Gucci Mane about, you know, his issues with Charlemagne and DJ Envy, and Gucci Mane expressed his issues with them, right? So then Angela Yee goes up to Quicksilver's radio station and talks about the interview that Charlemagne did with Gucci Mane. She basically says that Charlemagne is not being loyal to her or DJ Envy, and that she is the type of person that even if she just works with somebody, would never sit there and do an interview with somebody that the other person or the co-worker is uncomfortable with, right? She said that by the time she got wind of the fact that Charlemagne was even going to do an interview with Gucci Mane, the interview had already been done, right? And that she would not sit there and let another man or anybody diss or talk bad about her co-worker without trying to defend them, right? And the whole thing was kind of crazy because this woman, Angela Yee, is looking like a huge hypocrite, right? Now, yes, it's embarrassing what Gucci Mane said, but it's also kind of funny, and if you laugh it off and shrug it off, then ain't nobody gonna be mad at you, and people are gonna be like, yo, that was crazy, right? And at the end of the day, it's about, you know, relationship stuff or, you know, sex stuff or whatever like that. So where it is kind of embarrassing, it's not the end of the world, right? But I feel like Angela Yee's a hypocrite because Troy Ave has come up on the Breakfast Club, and I'm talking about Troy Ave because Charlemagne has beef with Troy Ave. Well, not really beef, but Charlemagne does not get along with Troy Ave at all, right? And Taxstone and Troy Ave are the ones that really have beef, right? Taxstone is sitting at Rikers Island in jail right now because of a situation that happened and went down with Troy Ave, right? Troy Ave has even done an interview on the Drink Champ saying that he will testify against Taxstone if he has to, right? And Taxstone and Charlemagne are tight, man. They're like really friends, you know, not just industry friends, but like real friends for real, right? So every time that Troy Ave comes up to the Breakfast Club, which has been, I think, twice since Taxstone has been locked up, Charlemagne has excused himself from that interview and would not even be in the same room with Troy Ave, right? But Angela Yee is there, DJ Envy is there, and both of them interview Troy Ave like everything's all good with the absence of Charlemagne, right? And then Charlemagne comes back the very next day and doesn't, you know, get mad at Angela Yee or DJ Envy or, you know, say that they're disloyal. He doesn't, you know, get at them or say, oh, I can't trust these people or anything like that, right? He just goes on about his day and takes the next interview with all three of them and whatever guests that they have, right? So why is it okay for Angela Yee to sit down with somebody that Charlemagne doesn't get along with, and Charlemagne's just like, all right, cool, whatever, it's business. But then when Charlemagne sits down with Gucci Mane, all of a sudden he's disloyal. You wouldn't do that, and blah, 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 blah. Like, that is a little bit much, right? Is it a double standard because Angela Yee's a woman? That's the only thing that I could possibly think of. But Angela Yee has to, in this specific situation, stop trying to play the victim because you are not the victim. So what? Charlemagne did an interview with Gucci Mane. You know what I'm saying? It's all for entertainment anyway, you know? But then again, she's on tour and she's doing a press run for her Lip Service podcast. So maybe, just maybe, all of this is orchestrated and that's a talking point that she is going to stand on, right? But then again, man, not a good talking point. Not a good one. Let me know what y'all think about this in the comments down below. T.I. sits down with Tamron Hall, who's a daytime talk show host, right? And he does an interview with her, right? And they talked about a lot of stuff, and some of the main stuff that they really talked about was Nipsey Hussle and, you know, how T.I. on his very first podcast, very first episode of his podcast, Expeditiously, he had Nipsey Hussle on there, right? And that Nipsey Hussle was supposed to go on there and all this other stuff, but he passed away. And he was just talking about fond memories of Nipsey Hussle, right? But one of the other things that, you know, Tamron Hall and T.I. started talking about was cancel culture, right? And the reason why they started talking about cancel culture is because, you know, of course, you know, Tamron Hall brought up Kanye because T.I. was one of those people that even though he said, you know, he doesn't agree with a lot of Kanye's points, he believes that Kanye still has a place in hip hop and that we shouldn't cancel Kanye at all, right? And then so Tamron Hall basically asked T.I. like, what do you think about cancel culture, right? And he said that cancel culture is fake. You know, people will be off of something for a little while, but then they'll get right back on it, right? And then he brought up Gucci, and it's crazy because T.I. was the main one that called for the Gucci boycott because of the whole blackface thing or whatever like that. But he's like, yo, niggas is back wearing Gucci like nothing ever even happened, right? But you want to cancel Kanye, right? So he basically compared Kanye to Gucci, and he's like, how are you trying to cancel Kanye and say that he's crazy and talk about, oh, you're not messing with him because he's talking about, you know, he loves Donald Trump and make America great again, but you doing it with a Gucci shirt on. You feel me? And it was just a little bit weird, you know, the comparison that he tried to make. But at the same time, you know, I feel you, right? So on one hand, Gucci did misstep, right? But I don't think they did that on purpose. They did it by mistake. But that does show the culture and the climate up at, you know, the corporate Gucci, where they have nobody of color up there that would say, hey guys, I know that you don't mean anything by this, but here's how it could be taken, right? If they had a little bit more people like that, you know, up there, you know, then it would, you know, give a little bit of different I guess, perspective. And the reason why people, and even T.I., who's the main one who said, we as a hip hop culture better boycott Gucci, the reason behind me thinking that people want to boycott Gucci is because they need to diversify the people that they have up there in those offices, right? That's one thing. And that's completely separate from, Kanye West being a hypocrite and, on one hand saying that George Bush doesn't like black people and then turning around and supporting Donald Trump as if he does. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's a little bit of that, right? Not the fact that, Kanye West supports Donald Trump, because there are other rappers and people in the hip hop community that definitely do support Donald Trump. And there are other rappers and people in the hip hop community that vote Republican, right? Because it's better for their bottom line and it'll help them save a couple million this year, right? So they're not going to vote for the person that wants to tax the upper 1% when they live in the upper 1%, even though they're black and even though they got their money out of hip hop. And I know that. But and I don't think that it's really Kanye's views that make people want to cancel him. I think it's the fact that he changed up on us, right? That he was one person once upon a time, 2004, 5, 6, and then he changed up in 2015, 16, 17, 18, 19. Like, you're just a huge hypocrite, I guess, right? You did a complete, 180, which is something that people aren't too, it doesn't sit well with you when you see like your cousin who you really looked up to and who was all about like black power to be like, yo, Donald Trump is my dad. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's kind of where people sit right now with Kanye West. But hey, that's just me, man. Let me know what y'all think about this in the comments. All right, so let's talk about it, right? Because everybody is saying that Kanye is crazy. Everybody's saying that he is in love with, Donald Trump, and then why? But I think that he's probably gearing up to run for president, right? And in order to run for president, you have to set up a certain, track record before you can even say, hey, I want to be president, or hey, I want to be a candidate, right? So that people can look back at your work and be like, okay, cool, you can go ahead and run for president, and you're not like the devil himself, right? So any rapper that decides that they want to just run for president, like whether it be, and I'm talking about a mogul, like a big rapper. I'm not talking about like DaBaby is gonna run for president, right? But I'm talking about like, a Puffy, right? A Jay-Z, a Birdman, somebody like that. You would have to have a good track record behind you, right? And Birdman cannot run for president because of that whole gang shit. I don't think Jay-Z is interested. And Diddy might be able to run for president if he wanted to, but they definitely will dig into his past, right? They do it to all politicians, right? But with Kanye West, the public has pretty much digged into his past already, right? Then he turns around and he says he's not making any secular music anymore. Secular music being, any music that raps about, cars, sneakers, shoes, guns, partying with bitches, coke, strippers, stuff like that, right? So it sounded like a really big hypocrite when he basically says, oh, how can you rap about, your car or your new Rolex and then turn around and talk about prison reform, right? Basically shooting straight at Meek Mill, right? But he also is been on TV the past couple of days and in interviews the past couple of days trying to convince black people that we're all brainwashed, right? But I don't think that he really thinks that we're brainwashed. I think that he wants to try to shift our thoughts a little bit, right? He keeps saying, oh, black people are brainwashed because all you want to do is vote Democrat. Vote Democrat, vote Democrat. But what if you have a really good candidate that's a Republican and you're stuck over here voting Democrat, right? So I think that Kanye West is also trying to make us shift our thoughts over a little bit because he wants to run for president and he wants to run under the Republican card, right? And he wants to have Donald Trump endorse him, hugely. So he's not running for president in 2020 next year, but in 2024, I bet you a lot. I bet you pretty much my last dollar that this nigga Kanye is gonna run for president. He's gonna have Trump say, oh yeah, Kanye is the best. He's gonna run for president as a Republican, right? And if he could really stop, doing secular music from here until then, right, which is the next 5 years, then he would have a gospel album, behind him on his track record. He would have Kim K as a very good first lady who has already helped a lot of non-violent offenders out of prison. He will have a cosign from a president who, or a ex-president who has already been president before. He would have the Republican community behind him, and you know they love their Christians, you know what I mean? He would have this whole Sunday service track record behind him, and he would have sat there and kind of been able to shift at least some people over from voting Democrat to Republican, because he really needs and wants that black vote, right? So I really think, you know, through and through, that even though this is very far out, and I'm talking about like 5 years from now, that I see Kanye West gearing up to run for a president on the Republican card, and he's trying to shift everything towards that direction. So whereas you think, oh, he's just a rich ass crazy rapper, or you know, he's just going off the deep end, or he's talking about all this stuff, no, he's doing it all for a reason, and I think it's because he wants to run for president. He saw it's the thing that he saw Barack Obama be president, and Barack Obama is a black man. And then he saw Donald Trump be a president, and Donald Trump is an asshole, right? And so Kanye West is a black man, and he's an asshole. So he thinks that he could run for president. He sees what Trump did, and he's like, yo, I could do exactly that. I'm from that same kind of cloth. Plus, you know, Kanye West has a big ego too, and I think he's gonna run for president. That's just me. I don't know. Let me know what y'all think about this and everything else in the comments down below. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. Make sure you hit that notification bell. Follow me at Johnny Fastlane on Instagram, and y'all already know what to do. Peace.